The Five Orange Pips by Arthur Conan Doyle. Part 1. I have a complete record of all Sherlock Holmes' cases between 1882 and 1897. My friends and I worked together on some very important crimes during that period. We also worked on some very strange cases together. The strangest of all the cases is the one I'm going to write about now. It all began in September. Weather was terrible, I remember. It rained and it was very windy all day. The weather grew worse in the evening. Sherlock Holmes and I sat by the fire in the flat in Baker Street. We did not say much. Holmes was working with some papers. I was reading a story. Suddenly, I heard a bell. "How is this?" I said. "Are you expecting friend, Holmes?" "No," he said quietly. "You're my only friend, Watson." "I don't like people visiting me at home." "Then it must be a client," I suggested. "If it is a client," Holmes replied greatly, "it's a serious case. No one would walk through this storm if the case were not serious." The landlady opened the front door of the house. A few moments later, with a knock on the door of Holmes' flat. "Come in," cried Holmes. A young man entered the room. He looked about 22 years old and was well dressed. He seemed very nervous. He was pale. "Give me a coat and umbrella," Holmes ordered. "I will hang them out to dry." "I see you've come to London from the southwest," he added. "Yes," the young man agreed. He looked surprised. "I have just come from Horsham. I told you that. But the clay and chalk on your shoes is very distinctive," Holmes told him. "I've come for advice," said the young man. "Advice is easy to give," Holmes replied. "I need help as well as advice," the young man added. "Help is not always easy to give," Holmes said seriously. "I've heard a lot about you, Mr. Holmes," the young man said. "Major Prendergast told me how you helped him in the tank of the club scandal." "Ah, yes," Holmes remembered with a smile. "The Major was accused of tricking the car." "He said you could solve any mystery," the young man cried. "That was an exaggeration," Holmes said quietly. "The Major said you are always successful." "That's not true," Holmes corrected him. "I have lost 4 times. The 3 times against a man and once against a woman." "But you've had hundreds of cases," the young man went on. 4 defeats and nothing against hundreds of successes." "I'm sure you will be successful with my case." "He's jealous all about it," it suggested. "It's a strange case," the man began. "The things that happened in my family are very mysterious." "Tell us everything," Holmes repeated. "My name is John Openshaw," the young man said. "I have very little to do with the story. To understand it, you'll have to know something about the history of my family." He paused for a moment, then he went on. "My grandfather had 2 sons, an uncle Elias and my father, Joseph. My father had a bicycle factory in Coventry. He was very successful, and when he retired, he was a rich man. My uncle Elias went to America when he was a young man. He too became a successful man. He owned property in Florida. He fought for the South in the American Civil War. He became a colonel in the Confederate Army. It never wanted black people in America to have the vote. When the South was defeated, my uncle Elias returned to his property in Florida. He came to England some years ago. He bought a house in Horsham. He was an odd man. He was not very friendly, and he lived by himself. His neighbors sometimes saw him in his garden, but he generally stayed in the house. Drank a lot of brandy, actually never had any visitors. He didn't know his brother. He seems fond of me, however. Mr. Openshaw continued. He asked my father if I could live with him. I first went to his house when I was about 12 years old. He was kind in his own way. He played drafts with me, and he put me in charge of the servant in the house. By the time I was 16, I was master of the house. I had all the keys of the house, and I could do what I wanted. There was only one place I couldn't go into, Mr. Openshaw said. There was a room in the attic that my uncle kept locked all the time. He did not allow anyone to go in there. I looked through the keyhole of that room when I was a boy. It wasn't very interesting. I could only see pieces of old luggage and boxes of papers.